I get it everywhere I go. I want to thank you all for having me here tonight. You know, I'm so inspired by the turnout on a Tuesday night and the number of people throughout my 4 years that have been participating in our city government directly due to the Quincy Tea Party. You know, I look out on the crowd tonight and I see that you and I are kindred spirits. Yeah, at one point you looked around at those who led our community and those who led our nation and thought perhaps there was a better way, a way to govern that embraced new ideas, that weren't afraid to admit when one political party was right or stand up to your own political party when they were wrong. You always wondered about if you didn't get involved, who would? And 4 years ago I made the choice to get involved. I've long been active in our community, serving on boards such as Big Brothers Big Sisters and Adams County Right to Life, but felt there was more that I could be doing. I looked at our city council and saw my current representative there had been on the board for 16 years, and in my opinion had become a rubber stamp for his political party and failed to offer any new ideas. So I told myself that it was time for me to stop complaining and start to make a positive impact for the city of Quincy. And at the time I was told that there was no way that I could win my election. I was told Quincy would never elect someone who was 28, single, not Catholic, and oh, by the way, didn't graduate high school here. I was told that I would most likely lose by 400 votes, but if somehow I got lucky, I just might win by 30. But I knew that if I worked hard enough and proposed new ideas, Quincy would choose to break away from the past and embrace a candidate who offered a clear vision for his term in office. And by 7:30 on election night, it was evident the naysayers were wrong. I won by over 400 votes with 58% of the total votes cast. You know, the biggest honor in my life has been to serve the 3rd Ward as one of their representatives on the City Council. And when I took the oath of office, I gave myself a mission to try to provide my constituents a more authentic experience with city government, to do the things that I had always wanted my representatives to do. Providing a more authentic experience in my mind meant embracing transparency measures. You know, when I got on the council, if someone wanted to participate in our budget discussions, they would have to go down to City Hall and thumb over budgets themselves. And I always thought if one of my friends ever wanted to get active in city government, they would most likely do so from the comfort of their own home sitting at a computer. So my first month in office, I proposed and I passed placing the city budget online, making it easier for Quincy to participate in our budgetary process. On that same note, when we had our budget proposal, in my mind, it is one of our most important votes of the year because it sets our blueprints and it sets our priorities for the upcoming year. Once again, if a citizen wanted to get active in that process, he or she would have to take time off of work and go down to City Hall and view that document. So later in my first year, I proposed and I passed a 21-day online public inspection period for any proposed budgets. And providing a more authentic experience to me also meant providing unprecedented accessibility. You know, with society pulling us in every direction, elected officials should make it easier for you to contact them, not build walls around themselves. So besides giving my cell phone and email out to every constituent, working with my seatmate, Alderman Havermill, we hosted 2 town halls a year, giving constituents the opportunity to ask any question they please in an open forum. And you know, the funny thing is I actually found that it was a better tool for me to do my job effectively, and it became 2 of my favorite nights out of the year serving on the city council. And providing a more authentic experience to me also meant proposing common sense ideas that you utilize at your own dinner table doing your family budget. An example of this, a few years ago, the administration brokered a deal bringing in $3 million of new money into the city with Ameren. Now, the current administration had plans to spend every single penny of that. But what you may not know is that your property tax in Quincy only pays for our pension obligation and our bond indebtedness. So I thought to myself, you know, if we work to reduce our debt, we might just be able to begin to properly fund our pensions, or if we cross our fingers, we can lower your taxes. And so when we had that discussion, I proposed and I passed setting aside $1.5 million of new revenue toward the reduction of city debt. You know, despite those accomplishments throughout my 4 years, oftentimes I've found myself baffled by the choices that my opponent has made. There's no clear indication of that than my first meeting, he failed to stand up for one of our citizens when he was denied the right to speak in front of the city council.
Amen.
He failed to offer clear leadership on his very own hydropower project, a project which costs our taxpayers $5 million. When my opponent made his announcement, he actually said that losing $5 million was okay because guess what? It didn't raise your taxes. But lost on him is the fact that $5 million could have been used to pay for a street repair, to fix your sewers, to fix your sidewalk, buy a police car. The list goes on and on and on. And despite the news of businesses leaving our community, my opponent has failed to offer a comprehensive plan to reverse the trend of job losses in town. You know, my vision for Quincy is simple in my mind. It's a city government that is performance-driven, that measures the services we deliver and strives every day to improve the job we do for you. Last month, I laid out a proposal which I entitled A Performance-Driven City of Quincy that relied on 3 principles. The first principle was a commitment to listen. You know, city government exists because of taxpayers. You are our customers and we work for you. We should not be afraid to listen to you on ideas how we can better serve your needs. So to accomplish this, I will host 2 town halls a year as mayor, and I will also host a contractor's hour inside city council chambers once a quarter for our contractors to go down to City Hall at a time that is more convenient for them and allows them to report to their job site on time. Our second principle in a performance-driven city of Quincy is an equal expectation of service. Currently in the city, we do not track how long it takes us beginning and to end to cut down your tree, to fix your sidewalk, to fill your pothole. What I would like to do as mayor is work with our IT department and department heads in every department to track work orders and indicators to let you know that your work order has been processed and for you to know that you are receiving equal and fair service compared to your neighbors. And the third principle in a performance-driven city of Quincy is all progress will be measured and reported. Not only will we track work orders and indicators and do that in every department, so in every department they are asking themselves the question, are we doing a better job for Quincy than the year before? We will have indicators that let you know how we do that. And how you can hold us accountable for the job we're doing is a community-wide measurement tool that I will implement as mayor called the Quincy Scorecard. The Quincy Scorecard will be online at our city website and will have data that is on easy to follow graphs, data that is unbiased, and data that is the same data that I get as mayor. When the Quincy Scorecard is implemented, not only will you be able to hold departments accountable, but you will be able to answer every year if we are doing a better job for you than the year before. Just last week, my opponent was asked a question. If he thought implementing the Quincy Scorecard would benefit Quincy. Does anybody know what his answer was to that?
No.
His answer was no. I want you to think about this mindset. A mindset that says that implementing best practices from some of our most successful cities and corporations in America is a bad thing. This is exactly why we need to change the mindset in City Hall. I will make you this promise today. If you elect me as mayor, and you have an idea that will benefit the city of Quincy, I don't care if you're Republican, a Democrat, an independent, if it's an election year, if it's an off year, I will work with you to get it done, and I will support you 110%. You know, my vision for Quincy is a city government that plans for our future. So 20 years from now, they can use their tax dollars on the opportunities of the day instead of paying for problems of the past. All too often, we have borrowed money without a plan to pay off our debt. When we do this, we place a greater strain on our property owners and tie the hands of future councils. I can think of no greater example than our hydropower project. We borrowed $6 million without a revenue stream to pay off our bond. And on top of that, when we lost money, the repayment plan included $1.47 million in capital cuts to a future administration. Now, my vision for Quincy is also a city that promotes an entrepreneurial spirit. So when our greatest natural resources, our children, find their chosen field, they will have a life-fulfilling career waiting for them right here in Quincy. We need to begin the discussion on what do we want Quincy to become in the future. 20 years from now, will Quincy become a mini Silicon Valley? Or perhaps we become a medical destination for West Central Illinois? Or perhaps we become known nationwide for our startup companies? Whatever Quincy wants to become, I know we have the resources, the infrastructure, and the people to make it happen. We just need to take that precious first step. Now, my plan for Quincy, or my vision for Quincy, is not a vision of legacy projects, but that at the end of my term in office, the legacy is good government. My friends, I will need your help from now until Election Day to make this happen. I can't knock on every door. I can't call everyone in Quincy. And I don't have energy companies in St. Louis that can give me $5,000 on a moment's notice. But what I do have is a work ethic to work every day as hard as I can from now until April 9th to show you and to show the people of Quincy the kind of job that I will do for them as mayor. And I know that if each one of you here tonight goes out and votes on April 9th and helps me by walking a precinct, by calling 3 of your friends to tell them about this election, or will help me pay for a roll of stamps, I know when those returns come in on Tuesday, April 9th, that once again, those naysayers will be proven wrong, and the city that we know as the Gem City will shine brighter than ever before. So thank you for having me here tonight, and I look forward to your questions.